Hello folks, my name is Octavian. It's been a little while since I've been behind this particular free mic. It's nice to see you all again. Hopefully you feel the same way as we're going to be hopping into a Ranked 5s match from the highest that Ranked 5s has to offer us. In fact, the highest that League of Legends has to offer us for some of these players, since over on red side, Peng, Acolytes of Peng, is an alt team for CLG, and they've been practicing their 5s on the Ranked 5s ladder. Getting in some play between games over at the LCS.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
They are going to be facing off against Global Mastership. And I'm assuming that Sejuani is the team captain and the flagship of the team, given that she has the team's name as her name. As Glom and Peng take the rift against one another in our most recent episode of Free Mic, Open Mic, whichever one it's called. How is it that every time I start up a recording, every time I load into a replay, I always forget whether it's called Free Mic or Open Mic? Every single time. You'd think at this point. Anyways, Global Mastership's bottom lane choosing to start down at the Krugs. Not a very unorthodox start, not a very unorthodox lane overall in the current meta. A bit more of an unorthodox lane is going to be Double Lift and Aframu, taking up the Vayne Bard combo. And actually, already seeing some unorthodox play. Bard looking to go for the harass support play early on. Aframu roaming up and trying to interrupt. The Krugs actually takes away the little one with the Cosmic Binding. And in this lane, in the Bard and Vayne matchup, rather, you do not want to be near a wall. We'll put it at that. There's actually some very interesting synergy between these two, because if the Condemn or the Cosmic Binding lands on either Nitsnasty or Sangbin and stuns them up against the wall, they're going to be able to snare that nearly continually for a good 3 or 4 seconds once both skills are ranked up. Nitsnasty getting ignited. The exhaust back onto Double Lift as Aframu is still throwing out the harass continually. Sangbin gets stunned against a minion. Some more autos coming in for Double Lift as Sangbin gets harassed away by the level 2 Bard. Nitsnasty now in some trouble. The level 2 gained for CLG already. Flash away from Nasty. Flash traded between AD carry and support, which honestly gives the advantage over to CLG in the bottom lane here. And the meats are coming in big for CLG's bottom lane. Aframu has been able to get out a lot of harass already on this Bard. One of the reasons why I chose this replay, I really like Bard. I know, for some reason other people don't agree with me on this one, but I like Bard as a support. Perhaps it's just that I'm biased. I like seeing new support champions in the game, but I wanted to see some of the highest level Bard play in the game, and I don't think we're going to be disappointed. As Aframu looks to go aggressive once again, perhaps. Has a meep up, so has a little bit of extra damage for this trade, were it to happen. And as I said, it's all about geometry in this lane. Cosmic Binding just for some damage onto Sangbin as Double Lift comes up to zone as well. And a Vayne getting a CS lead over a Lucian Janna in lane is a very, very unfortunate prospect for Global Mastership's bottom lane. Of course, another reason for picking up this particular replay is that we're seeing Double Lift on Vayne. Always a favorite. Nits forced to flash away. Ooh, the chain still connects, though. The Ignite is burning, and Link will get first blood. 400 gold for him as the first gank of the game for CLG. Certainly works out. First blood on the Blanc. Nothing I would complain about. Leopard now getting burned away. Silences himself with the overheat. Turns around. Doesn't land the second Electro Harpoon, so Zion Spartan will come out ahead in that trade. On the Smite teleport, Shyvana top doesn't really yet have access to that Smite. At least not in the 1v1 against Leopard, because we haven't seen an upgrade to the machete yet. So this is the point at which Leopard should start trying to gain an advantage in the top lane, because it's one of Zion Spartan's tools is sort of locked away behind an item wall. Able to use it, of course, on the minions in the wave, but isn't able to get that skirmishing bonus against Leopard. However, Zion, I think he's maxing his E first, has been able to get some good harass down, as well as farm decently from a distance, staying even on CS. Condemned just to complete the combo as we swap back up to top lane again. Leopard is actually harassing Zion away. So Aphromoo is doing the best he can to sustain up that double lift Vayne. Link dashing on in for a bit of harass. And the map sort of falls to a bit of quiet here. Sejuani went bottom lane to look for a gank, but didn't quite get into a decent enough position to make anything happen. It's going to be confusing because the team is called Global Mastership, and the Sejuani is also called Global Mastership. So, there's going to be some potential context where that might become a little bit confusing. Hopefully that doesn't come up. Level 6 advantage for Zion Spartan actually forces Rumble way back from the minion wave there. Leopard might be in some trouble who chooses to stick around. Zion has a health advantage, has a level advantage, working on a pretty solid CS advantage as well. And he's just going to go right past, try and farm the minion waves, but doesn't realize it's a Sejuani incoming. Meanwhile, Link is dashing forward onto Smiggy, who still doesn't have level 6. The Ignite is burning a few more auto attacks. He'll go down. And that wasn't the Ignite, that was the dot from the Grump buff. And Aphromoo is back from his possibly literal magical journey through the jungle. Nasty and Sangbin did manage to push up a bit, and because of that absence, Nasty at least got back within 10 CS of double lift. As the snare catches onto Sejuani, some good damage from Link. But it's still going pretty poorly for the bottom lane of Global Mastership. Ooh, didn't quite hit the wall. That could have been really bad, but thankfully Nasty wasn't out of position quite enough for Aphromoo to capitalize there. It does mean that he'll live to farm for another few waves. Good harass on Aphromu's Bard, who's fairly tanky for as far as Bards go. I'd be interested to see the Runes and Mastery page that he decided to go with for this one. A lot of people like to go with the utility, 21 into utility on Bard, because he just seems so utility focused in his kit. But actually, he has so much utility within his kit, he has so much of that innately, you don't really need to go that heavy into utility. You can go fairly deep into the defensive tree to bulk up a bit, keep yourself safe during the laning phase, which is one of Bard's weaknesses. He's a little bit... He lacks a bit of laning presence and power. Zion Spartan going for the 1v1 with Leopard here. He's upgraded his smite at this point as well. He's got a Bammy Cinder, but Leopard still burns pretty hot with those flames. The harpoons are pretty sharp as well. Magical Journey brings in the Gragas. Body Slam is blocked by the minion wave, and Xmithy's going to just have to back off after that one. Zion actually burns the ulti in something of a botched counter-jungling attempt. He did get the camp, and he got the buff as well from it, which means that he has that little wolf spirit guarding for him now. But burning the ulti, that's a pretty long cooldown and fairly impactful during the Rumble Shyvana 1v1. So I'm not really sure if that was worth it. Here comes the tumble forward. Aphromoo getting knocked up off to the side. This Global Mastership is harassed out of his own jungle there by the Gragas. And Zion Spartan back in the lane once again. Burned the teleport to get here. Looking for the 1v1 with Leopard. He is very confident in this now. Health regenerated. W up and burning, and Leopard is getting chunked away. It's a slow burn, but it's still a deadly one. As Gragas sitting off to the side, finds Nasty Face checking into a bush, but didn't want to quite go for the engage. They're still a bit close to their turret, and they want minions under it, so they don't have to tank it right away. Actually, here comes Xmithy. He has the ulti. They could really go for this one. He's gonna toss it onto Sangbin. Double lift coming in, tumbling into final hour, going for Nasty after firing off an auto attack, just burning the heal of Global Mastership's bottom lane, but heal for Gragas ult, and I suppose Vayne ult as well, isn't a terrible trade. Because it's not really only the heal that they got. They're going to get all this pressure on Dragon. They're going to get minions pushing into the bottom wave, dying over and over again. It's denial for the Lucian. It's more global advantage for CLG. And Zion Spartan is just being such a bully. The ult is back up, and he forces the flash out of Leopard. Well, the Leopard's turning it around. He doesn't have any fear. He's going for this fight. The Electro Harpoon lands. Number 2 also lands. He doesn't get the kill, though. No! The dragon fires burn hotter than the Yordle ones do. And it turns out that if you don't stand on the equalizer, it doesn't hurt you. Novel information. Zion Spartan makes very good use of it. Link continuing to pressure in this mid lane, getting a very solid CS lead and 2 kills up as well. He hasn't been playing anything super flashy, but he's just been solid on this LeBlanc. Double lift tumbling forward to get the third proc and it's nasty. Does get traded back fairly heavily though, as Janna shows up. That is a little surprise out of the bush. But Aftermoon is waiting for another magical journey. Actually, Tempered Fate to hold the Janna in place, but there's a surprise! Sejuani in the bush this time. The ulti from Xmithy does disengage off of Global Mastership, and it looks like Sejuani is not going to be enough to save Janna's bacon. Indeed, perhaps not even her own bacon, or Lucian's. Link comes in off from the side. The snare connects on the Global Mastership just as he flashes away, though. And this turret is not going to be standing for very much longer. Tempered Fate play. To start off the engage, only hit the Janna, but it was good enough. And Xmithy's ability to disengage off of that Sejuani meant that they could pick the fight that they wanted. And they picked the one that they were going to win. Well done by CLG, applying more pressure in the bottom lane, getting that lead even further in favor of Double Lift, who's just going to become a monster as this game moves forward. Looks like he's actually rushing into the Bloodthirster. An interesting choice. He's going for raw power on the auto attacks. And the Tumble, which does have an AD ratio as well. That combined with a free AD he'll be getting from Final Hour, he's going to be chunking hard with each single auto attack, but he's not going to be rocking the true silver as often. True silver bolts. Leopard turns around, he lands 1, he lands 2. But Zion at this point really doesn't care. He's built some magic resistance. He's got a level advantage here, 2 levels actually, up on Leopard. And he's been slowly snowballing this lane further and further out of control. And now, 12.5 minutes into the game, he's got a 40 CS lead. He's got quite a few things. It's going very nicely for him. He still hasn't even chosen to go with a jungling item. He hasn't unlocked that smite, as I said earlier. But he hasn't really had to. He's just got so much raw power in the other items that he's built. Not only power, but tankiness as well. It's translated into a huge advantage for him, top lane. Speaking of huge advantages, CLG is looking for a man advantage on the bottom side. Sangbin is getting burned away by this dragon. Good lord, the damage onto that Janna. She's a very squishy target, and Zion Spartan is not a very forgiving man. Nasty will go down as the Tempered Fate comes in, just about catches the Janna. Double kill for Zion Spartan's Shyvana. Global Mastership will return to his jungle, but it's really not his own anymore. Aftermoon binding against the wall, the ulti from Xmithy. And this is just turning into domination all over the board. Leopard goes down to Link, who roamed up to top lane. A stun against the wall, and Aftermoon alone does 1/5 of the Ahri's health. Those meeps are starting to hit pretty hard. He's getting a lot of them as well. He's been able to roam around. Double Lift has been solid enough on his own in the lane that he hasn't really needed Aftermoon there for anything but a few semi-ganks. Speaking of ganks, he's coming over the wall. The binding against Sangbin does hold him to the other wall. And Xmithy will finish off that kill. His Double Lift dashes on in, getting the third proc on a Nasty and doing half of his health with just 3 autos. As I said, the Blade of the Ruined King means every single auto is chunking at this point. As Zion Spartan's going for the dive onto the Ahri here, Spirit Rush is available, but Link is there to close the distance. The Ignite is burning, and Link is unstoppable. His passive is popped, rather. But that's not really going to matter too much, as Rumble will never be able to catch a fleeing LeBlanc. At least, not when that LeBlanc still has a distortion pad available. Double Lift will take down the secondary turret in bottom lane. With a magical journey, Aftermoon will leave him to it. I do believe we're going to be seeing a bit of trouble here for Nasty. He gets stunned up against the wall, he gets stunned up against a minion. The Ignite is burning, but the third proc doesn't come in. Here's the teleport from Global Mastership. Double Lift's actually flashing into the magical journey to get over the wall, chasing after Sangbin now. One more auto will do it, he does it! Killing spree for Double Lift. Smigyu now turning his attention onto there. Does finish off the kill as Bard takes down the Sejuani. That's not something you see every day. Aftermoon with the Tempered Fate might be enough to keep him alive. He dodges out from the Orb of Deception with a Magical Journey. He's getting chased by the Ahri, though. Leopard manages to bring down Smithy, but Link is chasing after Smigyu and doing huge chunks of damage. Doesn't have Ignite up, though, so can't get the kill. Ooh, he's pulling. He's pulling the classic LeBlanc juke. Stand still, let him think it's your clone, and he goes back to the distortion pad. Link outmaneuvering Leopard. Just, that's the only word for it. Completely outmaneuvered, juked, outplayed. I suppose there are many more synonyms, but all of them amount to the same thing. Link just pulling a fast one over on Leopard's Rumble. And now we see the attack speed coming in for Double Lift. He has some AD to back it up. And actually, they both have Smite there. I was about to say Global Mastership can just smite this away, but no, that's the Smite Teleport Shyvana, so gonna be secured for Zion Spartan, who has just put masterful pressure on this top lane, nearly double the CS of his opponent. This is how Smite Teleport Shyvana is played. This is the sort of pressure it can generate for the team. Top lane has not been a worry, not once. Majai's Soulstealer picked up for Link. Not a very surprising buy. He is quite far ahead. Something you could conceivably say of nearly every member of CLG at this point, including Aframo. With his army of meeps, would probably be able to actually do quite a bit of burst damage to any of the squishier targets over on Global Mastership. Dragon goes down. Not too much contest there. The mid lane turret falls as well to Link's continual onslaught. That's the last outer turret remaining for Global Mastership, and they are waiting in the bush. Double Lift tumbling forward, but he just about dodges the charm, but he can't dodge the Sejuani. Oh, Tempered Fate will keep him safe a little bit longer, but he's standing on a red carpet of death. Does get knocked away, actually, by the Janna ult. That could have been really bad, but thankfully he still went down in the end to the Lucian damage. Smithy now body slamming over the wall, and that's a 1-for-1 trade so far for Global Mastership. One of the best fights they've gotten. Slow from Smithy does land on the multiple targets. He body slams away. He might be able to escape here. Smiggy is in a lot of trouble against Link and Aframo. He cannot hold his own. Global Mastership now dashing over the wall. Zion Spartan finally showing up for the fight. He's going to turn his attention onto this Sejuani. Doesn't even get an assist, though, before Link shows up with huge damage and takes down the kill. His presence enough to pull the heal out of Nasty, as Sangbin shows up to peel as best he can for his AD carry, and what looked like it could have been maybe a good fight for Global Mastership fell to pieces. There's just too many threats on the side of CLG. They took out Double Lift, but they still had to contend with Link. They still had to contend with Zion Spartan, and even given at least 8 to 10 seconds of just free time battering on that Gragas, 3 of them could not bring him down. Xmithy is becoming insanely tanky. And they are fighting for every scrap here. Nasty wants to take his jungle, but Xmithy, of course, does have Smite. And this red buff is going to be stolen away as well, most likely. Or at least going to be the target of a fight. Global Mastership really wants to try and secure this one. Does get it with the Smite. Turns back onto Xmithy, who's very, very low, but he is Gragas, he is tanky. He might not go down. The burn is not enough, as here comes Xmithy from the backlines with a huge Shyvana ulti. Everybody is so very low. Do they have anything to finish this off, though? I think Zion Spartan's just going to have to chase them all down. Triple kill for Link, as he comes in for the cleanup crew. Smiggy still gets stunned against the wall despite the Spirit Rush. Really nice Cosmic Binding. Waits for the 3rd Spirit Rush as well for the Tempered Fate to come out. Another Binding lands to slow him. Dodges to the side of the Charm. Gets ignited. The Orb of Deception comes through. It's a lot of true damage onto Aframo. But I think he'll be alright. He does have some health to deal with it. And meanwhile, Zion Spartan and Double Lift were pushing down the bottom lane. They got the inhibitor turret. I don't think they'll get the inhibitor here. That's a bit too risky. But even as it stands, we are just about 20 minutes into the match. An inhibitor turret has fallen. Pressure is being lost everywhere. Global Mastership is just hemorrhaging gold at this point. Link is legendary. Kill after kill. And that'll be the 20-minute surrender as CLG takes home a victory. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Octavian. This has been another episode of Free Mic or Open Mic. As I said, I'm not sure because I'm really bad at that. But I'll see you next time, whichever one it is. Hello, folks. If you liked that, go check out my channel where you'll find a lot of content just like it. I would like to give huge thanks to EpicSkillshot for allowing me to host this Free Mic, Open Mic, to host this series on his channel, and also for the innumerable opportunities that he's given me otherwise. If you did like my content, though, you can go check out my channel, and you can even get one of your own replays shoutcasted over by me if you'd like. Just check out my channel to figure out how. Anyways, I'll see you all next time.